The first thing I noticed was the tapping. Soft, irregular, like a fingertip against wood. It came late, long after the manor had gone still. I lie in my bed beneath the low beams, staring into the dark, listening as it moved from one end of the wall to the other. At first, I thought it was the beams settling. Old timber always creaks. But this wasn't creaking. It was searching. I had been in service at Hartham Manor for 3 months by then, a maid to Lady Elspeth, who barely spoke above a whisper and rarely left her room. My own quarters were narrow, just a cot, a chest, and a single candle holder mounted to the wall. The wall, I should say, that I shared with the abandoned nursery. No one went in there. The door had been locked long before I arrived. Dust gathered thick at the threshold, and the key was nowhere to be found. The other maids said it had been shut since the winter Lady Elspeth lost her child. The tapping began a week before the first frost. Always at night. Always when the candle burned low. One evening, as I folded linens in Lady Elspeth's room, I asked, carelessly, whether the rats were bad in winter. She set her sewing aside and looked at me, her eyes pale and sharp in the lamplight. "There are no rats in this house," she said. Nothing more. That night, I woke to the sound again. Not tapping this time, scraping. Like something being dragged just beneath the plaster. My candle had guttered out, and the room was so cold I could see my breath. The scraping moved slowly up the wall, and stopped exactly where my head lay on the pillow. I lay there until dawn, not daring to move. The days went on as usual, fires to be stoked, floors scrubbed, meals carried up the back stairs, but at night, the sound always returned. Sometimes light, sometimes heavy. Sometimes almost breathing. I began to notice small changes. The candle holder on the wall would be ever so slightly tilted. The chest by my bed seemed to shift an inch or two, though I not touched it. And once, when I came in after supper, there was a faint line of plaster dust on the floor beneath the wall. One Sunday morning, when most of the staff were at chapel, I lingered in the upstairs corridor. The locked nursery door stood at the far end, the light from the high windows spilling pale over it. I put my ear to the wood. Nothing. And then, faint, from somewhere deep inside, 3 slow knocks. I stepped back quickly. My skin prickled under my collar. From the other side of the house, the bell rang for luncheon, and I forced myself to walk away, though I could feel something watching from behind that door. That night, I tried not to listen. I pulled the blankets over my head and hummed to myself like a child. But the tapping was louder now, quicker. Almost impatient. At some point I must have slept, because I woke to the sound of wood splintering. My candle was dead again, but there was enough moonlight to see it, a hairline crack in the plaster just above the candle holder. From it, a thin curl of dust drifted down, pale against the dark. I couldn't bear it anymore. The next day, I asked the house steward if perhaps the nursery should be seen to, in case of damage. He paused for a long moment before replying. "It is not to be entered. Not by you, not by anyone. Do you understand?" His voice was flat. Final. I nodded, but his words only deepened my unease. The following nights, the sounds grew stranger. There was a low, rhythmic thud, as though something was pressing, pushing, against the wall from the other side. And under it, so faint I thought it imagined, a thin, wet whisper. On the last night, the air was thick with the smell of damp earth. I woke with the taste of metal in my mouth and my blankets wound tight around me, as though I'd been turned in my sleep. The crack in the plaster was wider now. Through it, The candlelight from my wall sconce flickered, though I had not lit it. I rose, barefoot on the cold boards, and leaned closer. Beyond the crack was not the empty dark I expected. It was a pale surface, mottled, moving almost imperceptibly. Breathing. A soft exhale came through, warm against my cheek. Then, clear as if spoken beside me, "Come inside." I staggered back, knocking over the candle holder. It struck the wall, and the plaster gave way with a dull, hollow sound. I never saw what was inside. I only remember the rush of cold, the whispering louder now, many voices overlapping, none of them quite human. The door to the corridor slammed shut on its own. When the other maids found me in the morning, I was sitting on the floor by the wall, staring at the gap. The crack was gone. The plaster smooth. Only the faint scent of earth remained. I left Hartham Manor that day. But sometimes, in the quiet hours before dawn, I still hear it, that gentle tapping, looking for the wall.